answer yes or no. Cecil Millman, will you go? Please don't say no.
All right, kids. Well, it's going to be my first show from the heart with Lou Savarese, and this is what I'm going to call a labor of love. With a dear friend of mine, Chuck Yates, and very popular guy in the, I always say an oil mogul. I don't think he likes when I say that.
I like oil mogul.
Do you really? Okay,
well, like
my friend
mogul.
Chuck Yates.
There we go, oil mogul.
And I did also read that you are a galactic viceroy.
Okay, here's this story. So I get fired April of 2020, right?
Let's not say fired. Wait, hold on. Is there more like, is there a better word than fired? Let go?
Booted? Discarded?
Did you give 2 weeks notice? No,
No, so anyway, I get let go, and I'm sitting there messing with LinkedIn, and LinkedIn makes you put a title on, right? And so I'm toying with unemployed dude, fired dude, and I just typed in galactic viceroy, right?
Not.
Oh, and get this.
Time out. Nobody just types in galactic viceroy. Well, maybe you, but anyway, go ahead.
So I kid you not, about 2 minutes later, someone direct messages me through LinkedIn. Congratulations on the new job. So I thought maybe it was just a bot. They see a new job title, so they hit the button. So I message back, thank you, I'm just pursuing my dreams. I swear to God, he texts me right back, I'm sure you'll crush it.
Let me ask you a question, a very serious question. If you were going to be a galactic viceroy, who would it be? I mean, because I know who I would be probably.
Okay, the cliche I think is William Shatner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Captain Kirk, that's kind of cliche. I felt like I always had more of a Scotty vibe, kind of in the back going, I'm giving her all I can, Captain.
Well, there was a show called Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I don't remember the characters on there.
Or no, that was Buck Rogers.
But then early on, obviously, but I'm not going to know. Early on, who was the original galactic viceroy? Who was that? Who was the guy? My parents used to watch a guy, To Infinity and Beyond. Who was that?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, we're having senior moments.
We've already tanked the show.
Anyway, so let me get back to this about my gibberish, if you understand what let us know what that first show was. The first Galactic Viceroy show. I'm sorry, we're getting off on a tangent here. But
we really did.
Anyway, I wanted to say it's such an honor to have you on.
In all seriousness, I appreciate you having me on. This was really cool.
Thank you, too. This is a labor of love. And Chuck was a real good friend. He's a great friend and was helped me through a really tough time in my life, a thing called divorce. It happens, and it helped me a ton through that.
No, I always say that you and I working out boxing is probably about 20% working out, and it's 80% therapy. Because I was about a year ahead of you, year and a half ahead of you in terms of going through all that mess. And so I had people that looked out for me during that, and it felt like a little bit of a give back because I was able to kind of say, hey, Lou, here's what's going to happen next. Oh, by the way, I know you're feeling this. This is going to happen next. And so I got to say this, I was really proud of how you handled it, because it's not an easy thing to go through.
Oh, goodness, no. Italians don't get divorced. They just complain a lot. That's it.
That's it.
But I really appreciate that, and that was a big help for me, buddy. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I mean, I think when you think through it all, Brene Brown probably has it right, that the cause of all of our bad behavior, whether we drink too much, whether we're abusive, tick on down the list of all that, is just because we don't feel worthy of love. Yeah. I mean, that's really the cause of all of it. And so being able to, and the second thing of that is, ultimately what's manifesting itself when you don't feel love is shame. Yeah. And shame hates words. That's kind of a quick way to put it. So just being able to talk to someone is so important. And that really ought to be the lesson that comes out of me and you talking about this is if you're sitting there, you feel shame. Number one, you're not alone. Yeah. And number two, go tell somebody that, because at the end of the day, whoever you decide to share it with, 99% chance they're going to say, hey, man, me too. I felt this way here. And that's so important.
It's ironic you're saying this because a friend and I were just talking, a guy I really look up to, and he's and you know him actually. He's an oil guy, Rick Bobigan, and Rick was. We were talking this morning, and he was also a captain. I believe he was in the Air Force. Or maybe the Army. I'm not sure, but whichever one it was, he was a high-level soldier. And I said, because I'm doing a thing where we spar 22 rounds with 22 different guys, but it's indicative of the 22 soldiers that take their lives every day, and that just seemed. But Rick gave me some really good input on it. He said that, that these guys, they don't when they get home, they don't feel a sense of purpose and when they, and everything, but they don't have that support group either. And he said that's a big part of it. And I told him, it's just so therapeutic to get it out there. I mean, if you talk to a friend, talk to somebody, but it's very medicinal too, I think, to get stuff out there.
And it's horrifically embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you and I have sat in this gym, in this ring right here, and talked about things that I haven't told other people. Yeah. That I've been so embarrassed about. Oh my God, I can't believe I fess up. And, I feel like you've kind of done the same back and forth. And once you say it, once you say the words out loud, you realize that act, what you did, just has so much less power over you.
Yeah, absolutely. It just manifests when it's inside. If you keep it in there, it just manifests, seems to grow. So we don't want that.
Yeah, no, and it's so important today because you kind of felt like we were trending in this direction before COVID, that we were starting to address mental health issues. We were starting to talk about it. It wasn't the most taboo thing on the planet. But I think quarantine and going through that, the pandemic, really accelerated that. You saw a lot of people get to a really dark spot, but at the same time, people were much more willing to reach out for help. And so hopefully what comes out of this pandemic is we're all willing to talk, we're all willing to share, we all realize how much we need that human interaction.
That's a really optimistic look at it, a good way to look at it, it's good. So, and just so we're getting a little bit too serious, that's not usually our thing, but let's
Are we about to hug?
No,
okay.
I'm not there yet.
Okay. Gotta buy dinner first.
Anyway, we gotta love this here, Bob Marley.
Bob Marley,
wow,
yeah.
That's awesome. You're pretty. It's pretty part of your shtick is hoodies. You're kind of synonymous with the hoodie.
Yeah, I think someone on Twitter said something to the effect of, they say you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Chuck took that to heart. So
I gotta be honest with you, it's getting a little hodgepodge here because I'm just me.
Okay.
I'm not feeling Galactic Viceroy with the
hoodie. Somebody else on Twitter one time said about me, they said, Chuck dresses like a 90s angsty teen.
As you know, I'm not the most technologically advanced. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that? I'm having a little trouble. I'm going to be tweeting pretty soon, one of these days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your Instagram game's strong, though. I'll give you that.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
You got good Instagram
Well, I have
game.
millennials that work here, so they help me
Type
out.
this in.
That's not true.
So our dear friend Patrick Miller, the priest, Patrick will tell me, I don't do the Twitter.
I'm with them. But I'm telling you, I'm right in the home stretch to get my VCR to stop blinking. I'm close.
There you go. Perfect.
I right now have duct tape over it, but I'm getting it. I'm going to be
perfect.
There. So, Perfect. Small steps. So, and another cool thing about you, I don't know if people know, but you're very, very much into music, and obviously, but hairband stuff is kind of a big thing for you, right? Is that the right word, hairband?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Speaking of shame and embarrassment, and putting out there,
nothing wrong with that.
The 80s, 80s were high school, junior high school, and Poison, Motley Crue, Van Halen. That was just my jam.
Do you want to hear the saddest thing?
Lay it on me.
Oh my goodness! The other day, so I was looking for 80s music. It wasn't there. Guess what it came up as?
What?
Oldies. How can 80s be oldies? Isn't that ridiculous? It can't be.
Well, we're closer to 2063 than we are to 1980.
That's way too much thinking for me.
I think I actually did the math wrong.
Abacus.
I did the math wrong. It's about the same, but think about that.
We had a thing. It was really cool. From the '88 Olympic trials, we all did a Zoom. It was fun. Roy Jones, all the guys that fought in the '88 Olympic trials. And I could not believe that was that long ago. I mean, it's crazy. So '88, how many? Come on, Come on, how many years ago?
12 plus
Kayak
22,
series?
34.
34. That's why you're a numbers guy.
Exactly.
That's what I said. 34. I can't believe it's 34 years ago. That's crazy.
I know. Isn't that
I
amazing?
remember being a kid and just like saying, "Wow, can you imagine when the year 2000 is going to come in?" Well, it's not going to come. I mean,
So,
it's crazy.
so I actually have a theory about that. So, you know, when you're, call it 10 years old,
Yeah.
and you go through a year, that's
Yes.
10% of your life.
Wow.
So it feels like a long time. When you're 50 and 1 year, it's 2% of your life, right?
Yeah.
So that's why time speeds up. That's my thought.
Wow, that's another one. You get very deep on me.
Yes.
Don't get so deep on me. But and then another cool thing, I've been to a concert with you. That was really cool. Went to see Kiss.
Speaking of
Yep.
of hair bands, so
Yep, and you were backstage with Kiss. You were,
went backstage with Kiss.
Oof.
The cool thing is, and I will give Gene Simmons credit for this, I asked him to sign my backstage pass. Chuck and I are the same size, and he did.
Wait a second. Who did it with the tongue?
Gene Simmons.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So were you guys talking about tongue, or were we talking about? No, he's a big dude.
I didn't spell it out. I got the giggle, and he signed that.
True story. True story.
Okay.
I went on a date once, and I was leaving the house and coming in. There was this girl I was in. She was one of the hottest girls in New York, I think. Anyway, she worked at a bar called Polyesters, and everybody was trying to court her. And I finally got a date with her. I don't know. She tried to feel sorry for me or something. But anyway, when I was going in to her apartment, her roommate was leaving with who's the guy?
Paul Stanley.
No, the other one.
Gene Simmons.
No, one more.
Ace
Ace
Frehley.
Frehley. She was Ace
No
Frehley.
way.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. So anyway,
So
I was like, "What's up, dude?" I was like, leave me alone. He looked scared.
So I went, this was probably 30, 35 years ago. Peter Criss, you
Yeah,
know,
of
the
course,
drummer.
yeah.
So, I mean, when did Ace Frehley and Peter Criss get kicked out of the band? Like 1980 or 79?
That would definitely be for you. I wasn't
was-
a big hairband guy. I was more.
So
of
they get kicked out, right? And Kiss rolls on with new members. And Peter Criss toured by himself. You know, it was go see Peter Criss. And he was playing a place in Houston. This is when I was in college, so it was kind of late 80s, early 90s. It was called Bebop's, and it was up north of town. And so I went and saw him. So he played Kiss's
Bebop's, is it?
Bebop's.
Wow.
He played Kiss's greatest hits,
Yeah.
and he closed with Beth, because that's the famous song that he sang. And so he sings Beth, and everybody's like, okay, great, let's go. And the kind of MC of the night walks out on stage and goes, hey, if you cheer loud enough, he'll play one more song. Yeah. And we were like, all right, what has he got left? So we're all cheer. He comes back, he plays Beth again.
Think you forgot?
He played, maybe. That's actually a really
I
good
could definitely have done that before.
Yeah.
And that's really good. And then, so that, I mean, you talk about old timers too. That year I had seen Kiss. How old is Gene Simmons?
He's got to be in his 70s.
Okay, and then I saw in the same year I saw Kiss. I saw the Rolling Stones. How old is Jagger? 78?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
78. And then I saw, well, I didn't really see them, but I went to see The Who. They played 4 songs and left.
And then they
yeah,
left,
it was really, that was wild, man. Were you there?
I did not go see The Who, but I heard stories about
Yeah,
it.
so who's the lead singer?
Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey. And
he had
up there, too.
allergies, right?
Yeah, he had a cold or something like that. I'm like,
I
oh,
mean-
he's like rock stars. So Roger Daltrey, he played like one song, sang, and he went in the back, and then guitar player
Pete Townsend.
Pete Townsend comes out there and he sings too. He's very good. So he sings about 3 songs and he says, excuse me, I'm going to go check on Roger. He probably shouldn't have. We told him he was sick anyway. He goes, that's it, done. Everybody's like, what the heck? And they said that they were going to come back and they were going to refund the ticket. But it was weird. It was strange.
You know, it's so wild, all those guys. I mean, Mick Jagger, back when he was 23, said, if I'm 35 years old and on stage singing Satisfaction, you know, kill me. And when they came to Houston, gosh, 20 years ago, what was the drummer's name?
Wait, I know, the Stones?
Stones, Charlie Watt.
Charlie Watt,
the drummer. They did a whole article about him in the entertainment section of the Houston Chronicle about how he liked gardening. And you're like rock's greatest drummer is.
Now,
is
who's at fault there?
Yeah,
I think the Houston Chronicle, because you got to be a better angle than him doing gardening.
One would think. One would think. But
Can't blame him. So anyway, so I figured out the aggregate was 240 years old. The 3 lead singers.
oh wow.
That's old. Or 210. I can't remember. It's something. Like
Wow.
that. We'd have to have you add it up to make
I mean,
sure it's right.
if you have a 2 in front of that, it's old.
I've seen the Rolling Stones final tour 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I remember seeing them at the Garden probably 20-something years ago, and they said that was the final tour. Then I saw them at the Amsterdam, and I'll tell you how long ago that one was. And then the last one was at the New Amsterdam.
So it was December 31st, New
Yep.
Year's Eve, 2015, that Motley Crue was playing their final show at the Staples Center in L.A. And 2015 was just a horrible year. It was just a horrible year for me. So I was like, God, I got to do something to get rid of this year in an appropriate way. So boom, I'm off to go see Motley Crue.
That's therapeutic.
Unfortunately that night the bartenders knew me as Tito's Chuck, because I think I was drinking vodka sodas before the opening act was done. So it was one of those nights. But anyway, I had multiple buddies I tried to get to go with me. I'm like, this is our last show. This is our last show. And my buddy Brad's just like, dude, it's like their 12th to the last show. I mean, give me a tour.
Was he right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go see them this summer when they come back.
And how long ago was the last one you saw?
That was 2015. So they made it 6 years.
When Jagger was here, it was really cool. He said that his first time he played in Texas was 34 years ago at the whatever the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. And I like talking about Cowboys.
Texas Stadium?
Yeah, he said he played there 34 years ago. Wow.
That is crazy.
I tell you, the other thing about him, he's in great shape. I mean, I was tired standing up for 3 hours. He was jumping around. I mean, he's in really good shape.
Yeah. No, and how Keith Richards is still alive is
He looks kind of like a cadaver. He just kind of seems like they just prop him up. I mean, he's like Weekends at Bernie's.
He's like the only one that's not worried about nuclear war between us and Russia, because it'll be the cockroaches and Keith Richards wandering around. Hey, mate, where's everybody?
And did you know, I never knew this is crazy, not to get too political, but the lead singer of The Who he's a huge anti-Semite. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Roger Waters?
Roger Daltrey. Roger Waters is Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, that's who it is. I'm sorry. Mr. Daltrey, I'm sorry. It's Roger
Waters.
Waters.
Roger Waters.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just, one of my friends was telling me, he said, hey, he's a huge, I had no idea. Yeah, he's very overt. Yeah, I had no idea at all.
I didn't know that
either.
either.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is he a Brit originally, or?
I want to say Pink Floyd's British.
Okay.
And, he and David Gilmour, in effect, broke up Pink Floyd. And Gilmour got to continue as Pink Floyd. And Roger Waters got the rights to The Wall, that one album,
of course,
And so Roger Waters tours, I don't know, every 3 years and does The Wall, does this whole thing.
Sorry, not to get off on a tangent, but I will, because that's what I do. But
hey,
so talking about my great, technical on the internet and everything. The other day, I don't know what I did, but I took a picture of my wall and posted it. I don't know if you saw that. So everybody's like, "What the heck was that?" And I said, "I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd." So.
All in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
But I really did. I had a picture of my wall. I don't know how it got up there, but anyway,
nice.
I never know. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting, but go ahead.
I had no idea where I was going with that. I certainly couldn't beat a wall story on Instagram.
Hey, I put some other things on Instagram I probably shouldn't have put too. Not on purpose, though.
Exactly.
Definitely not on purpose. So, he's very humble, but you got a lot of cool friends. You and Jewel are good friends, right?
Yeah, no, it's funny because Jewel became a friend. We met in Telluride. And,
we met in Telluride. Yeah, I'm going outside the loop.
Dude, I totally name dropped there.
I'm going outside the loop next week. Go ahead.
No, so anyway, it's funny. So we just became friends, and it was, speaking of the hair metal bands, we were sitting at a dinner, and it was a wine tasting dinner, and my goal that night was for them to physically stop me, because it was Screaming Eagle, so it was great wine. So anyway, I started espousing my unnatural man love for Bret Michael of Poison at one point, and she's sitting there, and she's being so nice and kind, and all of a sudden she just goes, "You do know you're saying this with your outside voice, don't you?" And everybody starts laughing at me. And we've been sniping at each other ever since. The funny thing is, I'll get stuff like, people go, "Oh, are you and Jewel dating? Have you dated?"
Yeah.
Lou, there's more sexual tension between me and you right now on this camera than there is between
Cut.
No, but it's cool That's
No,
kind
it's
of my
great.
escape from reality. Is I'll
Yeah.
go out and tour manage. You know,
That's awesome,
It's
dude.
fun to go on tour, and so I've gotten to do that with the band Garbage. They're great.
outta
Butch Vig's
I
awesome.
don't know who Garbage is. I have no idea. I gotta be totally honest.
So the drummer Butch Vig is arguably alternative rock's greatest producer. So he produced the album Nevermind by Nirvana. He produced a bunch of Foo Fighters stuff.
Is this
Smashing
a prevalent
Pumpkins.
argument? I never heard it. What is it?
Nah,
Just tell me
Butch Vig.
He's arguably what?
He's arguably alternative rock's greatest producer.
Okay,
He could say that
okay.
with a straight face. Anyway, just a great guy. So I've gotten to do that with them. Thomas Rhett, the country singer.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
cool.
to sing on stage with Thomas Rhett one night.
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you? How'd
No,
your
I
how'd your
cannot
vocals?
sing. I cannot sing. They asked me to leave. It was like, okay, we've
My
done
dad,
enough
my
of this.
dad was always big about just pumping us up and everything. He would say, "Hey kid, what you do with the money?" I said, "What?" He said, "The ones Mom gave you for singing lessons." Then he said, "Otherwise, kid, you couldn't hold a note if it had a handle on it." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
That's a good one. I like that.
Really? I didn't think it was so funny, but anyway.
Well, it wasn't
I
directed
sing
at
pretty
me,
good.
so I enjoyed it.
I actually think I sing pretty good. That's just me saying, I'm a big fan of my. No.
I was about to say.
Well, I hold on.
Could you do the intro song, right, to the show?
No, I have not. But I can do it. Like I can
Little
do,
known
I
fact.
can do Chubby Checker. Okay, Chubby
Ooh,
Checker.
I like it.
Let's
So-
twist again, like we did last
okay,
summer.
okay,
Let's
hold
twist
on.
Again.
In all
Twisting
seriousness,
time is here.
let's have a serious moment about
Don't
Chubby
forget.
Checker. He does the twist, right? No,
Hold on.
hold on. This is, okay.
Dude, I just can't have a serious moment. Hold on.
Okay.
Chubby. All right, go ahead.
So, does the twist, has a hit song,
Yes.
doesn't have a hit song for 2.5 years. What does he do? Let's twist again. Let's twist
No,
again.
that's a great idea.
And then 25 years later, hadn't had a hit song. He does the country version. Let's do the twist dance. Dude rode that song for a whole career.
See, this guy's a vat of
That's-
knowledge. I mean, who would have known that?
Exactly. Edit, click.
That's not true. I don't even know what he's talking about.
Why
But
would anybody watch
that's
this?
pretty
But-
cool. So, okay.
Yeah,
so,
Chubby had a,
yeah.
Chubby had a, Chubby.
People
had a
don't know
great-
Chubby Checker that much anymore. I mean, I mentioned him the other day, nobody knew it. And,
Is he actually still alive? I don't know.
is
that
he
he's-
really?
I don't know if he is or not.
I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I'd be curious. He'd be really old, though.
Yeah, I think he played Bebop's the night after Peter Criss played back in college.
I'm
but
going to
yeah.
say probably not. But anyway, so Chubby, yeah, I can do Chubby Checker, and I do a lot of Neil Young. I'm sorry, I know you got mad about that, but because Chuck the other day, he made a very well. Let me just say, he said something derogatory about Neil Young, which he has some issues. Neil Young, I just like him totally for the music. I don't know why. I've
Yeah.
seen him in concert 7 times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
No, I've got no problem with the music and all. I think it was a little too self-righteous about going after Joe Rogan.
No.
Although,
He's been, you think about it, he's been dissed for a long time. Because remember Leonard Skinner,
right?
Son of Man Don't Need You Around Anymore?
Exactly.
Because he is a Canuck, right? He's from Canada, so
Yeah.
I think he's from Canada.
I think I saw a meme, something to the effect of everyone under 20s, like, who's Neil Young? Everyone kind of 30 to 50 is something to the effect of, I think Joe Rogan's right, and people over 50 are like, what's Spotify?
I had a lunch with a young lady, and I didn't know how young, but anyway, I said something about, I just made a little joke about I Love Lucy, and she had this like bewildered look on her face, like, oh, I Love Lucy. She's like, I was like, I love you.
She's like, you do?
No, so I said, I love Lucy. The other day,
Right.
Lucille Ball. She's like, I think, how old are you? You can't ask a woman how old you are. And I was like, what time? When you graduate high school? Anyway, she's a little too young. 27 years old. That's too young for me.
That is.
That's way too young.
Yeah, no, I get it. Jewel actually recorded her first album at Neil Young's studio.
Really?
And used some of his band.
Where
in
was
the
the studio?
Somewhere in California, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
What was that great documentary about? There was a studio that a lot of people would go. It was like in the swamps, and they would go back there. It was a really,
Oh, down in Alabama.
Yeah.
Something Shoals. Burning Shoals?
yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool documentary. I watched it.
Butch Vig actually did a documentary on the Smart Studios that he had in Madison, Wisconsin,
Wow.
where Nirvana recorded that album. And the coolest thing about it is, so Smells Like Teen Spirit changes our whole world, right?
Yeah.
It introduces grunge music, and Butch produced that. You ask Butch, you go, man, when you were producing that, when you were recording that, did you realize you were going to change the world? He's like, nah, I just thought it was a cool song. You know?
This is honest.
Yeah.
Hey, important question.
Yeah.
Where was Laverne and Shirley from?
Milwaukee.
Okay, but no, okay.
Shamil.
But
Shamala. Or whatever.
Haas and Pfeffer and Forfeit? I guess,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What is it, Haas and Pfeffer and Forfeit? What was it?
Carmen!
They worked at a brewery, right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. Did Lenny and Squiggy work there too, or no?
I think they lived across the hall, right?
Okay.
I think that was the device that brought them into the show.
But what, hey, hold on. What did Lenny and Squiggy do for a living?
I don't know that.
Oh.
You know what we could do? What my kids always do to me? I'll Google that for you, Dad.
It's amazing. It's like having an encyclopedia at your fingers.
I know.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
I used to have to. I couldn't imagine that being like a kid now.
I know.
Bad. It would be bad. I mean,
Well, you know, it's interesting how things have changed a lot in that these kids today are so used to Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, living their lives in public that you don't see a line between, you know, back in the day, I
Yeah.
mean, your dad had his job, but he came home to the family and there was a big wall up between them and separate
true.
lives.
I saw a thing this morning. Just clicked on Instagram where it was, and you know, I don't know who it was, but it was a lady pregnant, but like in a thong and a bra. I was like, what the heck? I don't know what to see it. Just, but I don't know where the line is. I'm really nervous having a young daughter, 10 years old. She's like my pride and joy. I'm just worried. I mean, we're
Because, you know, these quote-unquote kids, I hate to sound like
Yeah.
a boomer, although technically I am Generation X by 3 years. So boomer runs to 65.
I'll
so
get back to her on that one. I'm not sure if he's telling the truth on that one.
I'll show you my driver's license. I'll show you my birth certificate. No, but it's interesting in the kids, because they're so used to living publicly, they don't have this line, and it manifests itself in stuff like at work, they need emotional fulfillment on things.
That's
you know,
that's a different.
I mean, it's really merged, and so all the mental health stuff we were talking about earlier, I mean, they now demand that the job is at least part of the solution to that, and companies are having to adapt, and it's rapidly changing.
Even the obvious, but it's very close to me. One of my sons, he's doing much better, but he was so. I mean, video games, it's an addiction. I mean, I know way too much about it now. I mean,
Yeah.
they've actually declared it an epidemic. I mean, they have more college dropouts ever now, and they totally attribute it to video games.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just, and it becomes, not to be a dinosaur, but I mean, it becomes a way of life. It's just, that's what they'll do. And so many, like, it's a commitment not to let them do it. Like Clara, I mean, she's my partner. When we get in the car, I tell her no, and she'll yell a little bit or whatever, no phone, no nothing. And then we'll be out, we'll go to the park, run around. She's like, can we stay longer? But at first she didn't want it. She wanted to stay home. It's a commitment, though. It's hard.
Yeah, no, it really is amazing, and it's changing the world so dramatically that, it's equal parts scary for all the things you just said, but it's also really exciting. Like, I don't know if you've messed around with any of the VR stuff, the virtual reality stuff. I'm
thinking about maybe the third quarter of 63.
There you go.
2006.
But no, one of the guys I work with at Digital Wildcatters, Colin, has a headset.
Yeah.
And he literally plays ping pong every night with a buddy.
I like that.
And his buddy is, 200 miles away in some other city. But it's real. It is that
this
real.
was done years ago with, what was it, Kelly LeBrock.
Oh, yeah, Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Yeah. But, so I haven't
hold on. Let's be honest here. Would you rather have Kelly LeBrock or would you rather play ping pong?
Gee, I'm gonna think about that.
Ping pong with Kelly LeBrock.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
no.
I digressed. I apologize.
Kelly LeBrock, man.
Oh,
wow.
my God. She was
Yeah.
special. She married the karate guy, Steven Seagal.
Did she really?
Yeah, really bad. So she married Steven Seagal, and they had a really hot nanny. And
He did not.
No, but listen, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they named the baby after his nanny, and then it winds out he was stripping the nanny. Oh, boy. That's gonna leave a mark.
Something about those movie stars, Schwarzenegger, doing the same thing. It's like,
It happens.
Yeah.
I would know. Yeah, but his nanny, now not to digress again, but his nanny wasn't that hot. She was not that pretty. Schwarzenegger's nanny.
actually, the studies show that when you have the affair, the person you have the affair with is generally less attractive than your spouse.
Really?
It's the things like attention.
Are you sure about this?
I promise you,
Okay.
that's what the research shows.
You know,
And
that makes
it's
sense.
the
That makes sense. It
attention,
makes sense. Because if you
it's
marry
the
somebody
like-
for the physical attributes, it's probably not going to last that long, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It usually has to do with emotional availability and just flat out availability. They're
Okay.
there. They're in the house.
That's true. That's
you
true.
know?
Yeah. No, they
So-
actually talk to you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I hope the guys have stopped the camera at this point.
This guy's so well rounded. I mean, look at it. We got. Think all the things we've touched on already. Old TV shows, hair bands, relationships. You're like the Dr. Ruth of oil.
That's what I always
good.
say. I'm the Oprah of the oil and gas business. I do 2 podcasts a week, you know. So
Wow.
yeah. So
I know. I've been watching them. They're actually really funny. You gotta check it out. And the podcast is,
Chuck Yates needs a job.
which isn't true. You don't need a job.
I
You got a
told-
job.
I told Mom and Dad the other day, I'm moving back in with y'all before I get another
Oh, my
job.
God.
Working really
I was waiting for my
sucks.
parents to build an addition. I would still be there.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
And then we do the BDE show every Tuesday morning, which is the summary of the
What
energy business.
is that acronym? I'm sorry. What's
Big
the
Digital Energy.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm scared. Sorry.
I didn't fall for it. You
No,
tried.
no.
I didn't fall for it.
No, I had no idea. Okay, Big Digital Energy, cool. And when is that one? When is that?
So that's Tuesday mornings. We actually do that live on YouTube, so
Wow.
we can't edit. Like all this
That's
crap
tough.
we're saying that's going to get cut out and make us look good, we can't do that.
What are you talking
We're
about?
staring
It's
into the camera going, oh, help.
That's cool. And so that's once a week. So
That's once a week, Tuesday morning, and then Wednesday mornings I drop Chuck Yates Needs a Job, the
Yeah.
podcast. And that's more like a Joe Rogan
Yeah.
long form
right. The other one
interview
was
with
really
a
cool. And
guest.
just not to delve into too much, but like right now, and I'm a neophyte at the oil and gas stuff, but you're an expert. But I mean, it just seemed, not to get political, but it seemed really almost. One of my clients today said, he's a big oil guy, and he said it just in due time. He said it would have been much better to, not turn the spigot off per se quickly. And now what's going on with all the oil? We were oil independent and not. And now, right now, with China and obviously Ukraine, all this stuff going on, and I was teasing a friend. We have a mutual friend, Mr. Fusat, and I was teasing the other day when oil was $110 a barrel,
Right.
and he had sold his company. I said, "Hey, go look at the garage. You got anything left over there?" He said, "No, why not?"
Well, it's interesting. We forget how intertwined energy and the availability of energy is with geopolitical events. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the U.S. soldier because they're the best fighting force the world's ever seen. But if we don't have oil from the East Texas oil field, we don't win World War II, or maybe we don't win it as easily as we did. I mean, you go look at Africa and what we did with Rommel. His tanks were dead all over the place because they didn't have oil. They didn't have the ability. So we had two things going for us. One, we had oil. We also had a grade of oil that allowed us to make gasoline that could power our trucks better than the stuff he had.
For people watching, and me too, when you say the grade of, is a type of crude or a type of what you...
Yeah, just
Okay.
the quality of
Okay.
crude. You have everything from light sweet crude to heavy crude, and they all have different properties. It's like different hair gels, if you will. So, so we had that, and the Nazis had coal, and they were using a technology called Fischer-Tropsch that allowed them to turn coal into gasoline, but the gasoline didn't have as much oomph and couldn't run the tanks as well. Wow. And so they just ran out of energy. And so
That's interesting.
that really helped us. And so, when you look at what we've done with energy policy is if we step back, we sit there and we go, okay, over the last 125 years, we've gone from 300 parts per million CO2 in the atmosphere to about 425 parts per million in the atmosphere, and the temperature's risen on average about 1.5 points.
Yeah.
So there's correlation there. I mean, that's your sports analogy, the eyeball test. The eyeball test says something's wrong. The science is far from proven, even though people will say that it's actually causation, that us burning hydrocarbons is causing that. But we ignore that at our own peril. So we're definitely, as a society, making a transition to lower intensity carbon type fuels. So like solar and wind.
And you were the only one. Once again, I don't know, but being in the gym, and most of my clients are in oil and gas in some aspect. But you had most eloquently explained to me, just even as something as easy as the electric cars, or whatever you told me about, that from an energy standpoint, that at one time, maybe it's different now, but you were telling me that they couldn't. It just takes more energy actually with the type of ways they were using it as a battery or type. You were telling me something about it, really interesting. But then now to watch your podcast, the one on the energy, it's a little bit, not, but you talk about the one I had seen, I saw a couple, but one of the ones I had seen, you talked about one of the big companies, how they were basically, hurting the land in a sense, Do you get any pushback from your fellow constituents and stuff?
I am not suicidal. Okay. So if you find me, it may be that large company we talked about. But no. So what the problem is we lost our seat at the table to have this rational discussion of how we get to less carbon. So the energy business is persona non grata. Nobody listens to us. They think we're bad actors, and maybe, quite frankly, some of that was deserved. But I'll just give you one example of it. Is you sit there and you say, okay, we're going to go to electric cars, right? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's go to electric cars. Well, people say, well, great, we've gotten rid of oil. Well, 80% of our electricity is generated by burning hydrocarbons in the United States. So, we really haven't reduced a lot in the way of burning hydrocarbons.
Not less of a footprint.
And then you take it a step further. If you want to go build a Tesla, a lot of that's plastic. What's plastic made out of? It's made out of oil. It's a petroleum product. And then you go sit there and they have all these precious metals in those cars to make batteries run and all. So do you know what they mine those off of?
Wait, can I just tell you, now this is where we go from here, way down here at my level. You know how I know that?
How?
Because a lot of people steal catalytic converters.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know why? There's lithium in there, man.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good.
There you go.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, I like
it.
I
know,
but to go mine all that stuff, that all runs off diesel.
Yeah.
So you may take a car off the road, the internal combustion engine, but to put a Tesla there, you had to go mine for those precious metals, and that all runs off diesel. So I haven't done the math, and I don't even know if I could quantify it. But my whole point is we ignore CO2 in the air at our own peril. So we need to watch it. We need to be studying it. But at the same time, we need to be thoughtful. For instance, I'll give you another one. Everybody goes solar. Let's use solar. Well, 80% of the solar panels are actually produced in China, and 2/3 of their electricity is by coal. So you're burning coal in China to make a solar panel to put on your roof so that you won't burn a hydrocarbon. I'd rather have coal burned here because we do it cleaner than the Chinese do.
And we've actually, to my knowledge, coal is, we're trying to get that in mining coal in America.
So we've actually reduced our emissions, call it 15-ish% over the last 10, 15 years in the United States because we made a fundamental shift of let's burn natural gas instead of coal.
Yeah.
So the shale revolution, being able to frack, that natural gas has led to that. China and India are still building multiple coal plants a year. So the actual real...
Go ahead, buddy.
The actual real solution...
I had to sneeze. That was it, I promise.
Sure. Whatever you need.
But it was a long sneeze. Hey.
Yeah, but...
Excuse me. Hold on. About a sneeze. Do you know what Dr. Ruth used to say about a sneeze? True story. Did you know Dr. Remember Dr.
No,
Ruth? Dr. Ruth?
Please share.
Dr. Ruth, a sneeze is like an orgasm. She used to say it like an orgasm. I've never had that experience myself, but it's a good sneeze. It feel good, but I don't know about I've had sneeze, man. I've had both, but sorry, go ahead.
Okay. From the whole point of shame hates words, I will fess up to when we got cable TV, I watched way too much Dr. Ruth.
There's nothing wrong with that, buddy. Are you kidding me? The world could use a little more Dr. Ruth.
I got slightly excited watching Dr.
Oh,
Ruth.
no. God, no.
Oh, yeah, no. Messing up.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
I had a buddy, when he was watching Beverly Hillbillies, Granny was hot. I'm like, are you serious? I'm not kidding. We'd be sitting around, he'd be like, man, Granny's kind of hot. Like, what's wrong with you?
Betty White till the day she died. Yeah.
You know what?
A little bit of tingling there.
I mean, but just it'd be really cool just to say you were with Betty White. That'd be kind of cool. Not to be a name dropper, but that'd be pretty cool.
Are you dropping that?
No,
Is that a fact you're dropping now?
No, I would not. I'm not at that level.
Yeah, I got you.
You
don't kiss and tell.
Maybe
I like
more,
that.
maybe more, but I don't know.
You don't kiss and tell. I got that.
So
So
wait, what was Betty White was the Golden Girls?
Yep.
Yeah, yes, I know. That's why it's funny when people say, "Are you out tonight?" I said, "No, I'm home watching the Golden Girls."
Yeah,
I do like the Golden Girls, by the way.
I think Estelle Getty that played the
Yeah,
mother on
yeah,
that was only like 3 years older. Or she was 7 years younger than the rest of the girls or something. There was some stuff there. All right, hardest punch you ever took?
Oh, come on, dude. Is this a physical punch or a punch to the heart? No, the hardest punch I ever took. You know, interesting. It's so hard to measure, but I would say probably Riddick Bowe, and that was in the amateurs.
Really?
Yeah, he hit me in the Olympic trial. We fought in the Olympic trials. He beat me to go to the Olympics. He represented the U.S. and really, I didn't take that very kindly. But he was a great fighter. Should have probably been the greatest fighter ever of heavyweights, but he just kind of had some mental issues and stuff. Good guy, but just came from a really rough area in Brownsville, Brooklyn. A really rough kid, but good guy.
Yeah. No. Interesting. And of the three big, so Holyfield, Tyson, Foreman. Which one of those fights would you want back to do something different with?
Tyson. That's a no-brainer. That's so easy, Tyson, because it was such a huge event, and it was the outcome was terrible for me. So I would definitely want it again.
But I mean, I've watched it, and I mean, I don't. What would you have done different? I mean, because it didn't.
No, he caught me a good shot. I mean, and listen, not to have, and thanks to you, cool story. I don't want to get off too far on a tangent, but when I got to meet Tyson again, I haven't seen him in years, and we had so much fun talking. And you had him at an event. Chuck does an event. It was every year, but because of COVID, we didn't have it. But
yeah, the YDC roast. YDC is an after-school literacy program that serves Houston's 5th Ward, and we do a roast every year. And this year, one of the roasters was friends with Tyson and brought Tyson along. So
that was crazy.
yeah.
But Tyson, we got in the car for a long time. He came out. It was just really funny. He was so amicable, and we had so much fun and stuff. We were talking. It was really a cool time. But Tyson. It was such a huge event. It was so big, and a lot of kids will say, they all remember Tyson. I mean, he was such a big name. I mean, besides Ali, I think he may have been the biggest name in boxing. Ali still is one of the biggest names in sports, but I think Tyson. I mean, definitely that would be the fight I'd want back.
So this was cool. I was in the Vegas airport one time coming home, and Muhammad Ali was there. And this is, Muhammad Ali kind of later in life, with his Parkinson's and all that. And I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Ali, big, huge fan, man. You really were the greatest." And it was kind of hard because you could tell he wanted to say something. Yeah. So, I just kind of sat there, but then I didn't know if I should sit there. And he kind of eventually did this. He went, "Still am." And I was just like, oh, that was so cool.
He was
the best.
Yeah, but I mean, and his whole shtick, he was so funny. I mean, him and Cosell were so good together.
Oh, they were great.
Yeah, I mean, Cosell wasn't that good alone, but with, he was so much. They say there was a fight when Larry Holmes fought Tex Cobb, or maybe it was, but anyway, they said the greatest thing of that fight, Al Cosell said he'd never announced another fight and didn't, so it was cool.
Yeah, that was the best.
And him and Ali were like, they were good.
I'm pretty.
Yeah, good team.
I'm a bad man. Yeah,
so,
that was good
and
stuff.
then at one time, I remember when Howard said, "Champ, you're being quite truculent." Truculent? I don't know what that means, but if it's good, it's me.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was really funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, what he was able to do, he wound up his whole draft dodging conviction happened in Houston at the federal courthouse.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it happened in downtown Houston. Yeah,
I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Well, I'm assuming no one's Googling this.
That's interesting. That's very
but he really
why?
did.
I mean,
I don't know why. I don't know why it happened here. But
because I wonder why.
Because he was Louisville, right? He was.
Yeah, the Louisville Lip. They just call him Louisville Lip. But that's really weird. Maybe they want the venue here, or
no
Oh, you said he
idea
got
why.
convicted or no? Not.
He did, because he went to jail, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I don't know if he went to jail. I don't know. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. But they banned him from boxing and.
Okay.
Yeah, so I couldn't fight for a while. So.
Because I mean that was a great line. I got no problems with no Viet Cong.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, sure. Even right now with the Ukraine thing, it's just such, really, I guess anybody can have an argument why are we over there, but for humanitarian reasons. But then that opens up a whole nother,
Yeah. Yeah. No. It really worries me because we're two things. We're messing with a nuclear power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Russia has the second most bombs on the planet. And I've always been a Condoleezza Rice fan.
Yeah.
She seems pretty smart. I've seen her speak before. I was lucky enough one night to visit with her for about 5 minutes.
And you went to her college, too.
Condoleezza Rice. There we go. There we go.
Rice.
Anyway, Condoleezza Rice has been saying this on TV, so she's not a political hack or something. She's actually said there's something different about Putin. And that's what worries me.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, that really worries me because, I mean, it takes one launch.
Yeah.
No,
I know. And I think about my kids. I mean, I don't, you don't want this divide, I mean, this is, in Western Europe that I know about, I mean, there hasn't been anything like this in a long, long time.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, a land war in Europe. I mean, I thought we were done with that,
I know. It doesn't even sound, it doesn't sound real. It's just so far from what we know,
And particularly our kids coming off, because I've noticed there's a difference in my kids kind of post-quarantine and post that. I can tell difference. They were truly scared, and it worries me. And I was really hoping, how anytime you see a chart and there's like something and there's a big dip or there's a big spike up, there's always a box that says it'll say like the recession of 2008 that points to it. So I was hoping the pandemic was just going to be a box. It would be this little dip, and my kids would treat it like, oh, remember that time we had to eat at Denny's for Christmas because we missed our flight? I was hoping it was going to be like that, and it's not. It's something that's fundamental. Yeah, it's a rectangle. Yeah, it's something that's fundamentally changed them. So I mean, literally coming off. I just feel like we've kind of gotten over it. We're getting back to normal. To then throw the threat of nuclear war at them is really rough.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't. I have so many friends that get so dark and so about politics, and I'm like, guys, what can you do? You got to take care of our village, So that's what the only way I can kind of, just take care of my family and do the best I can do as myself. I won't want to turn a blind eye on things, but I don't want to live and die with it either. I have friends, I mean, they're a little bit older. I call them, and they're so dark about stuff. I'm like, I can't do that.
Well, so I have a theory that what's happened with that is when you had 3 networks, your advertising dollars were based on who had the highest ratings. And there were only 2 others that, now that we have so many different channels of media, we've got the internet, we've got cable, we've got all this, we've got podcasts, we have everything. What you get paid advertising dollars now on is the intensity of your audience, not necessarily the size. If your audience loves you, advertisers will pay up because they know that your audience will pay for it. And so as the news person, instead of reporting facts, you're trying to inflame. And that's just
I'm not kidding. I listen to radio, but I tried to watch the news because it's so obvious to me anyway. I mean, you'll see somebody starting a segment and they got like this, a guy like Charlie Rose or somebody, do an interview, or guys that just, like you say, report the news. Don't put
Walter Cronkite.
Right. We don't want to hear your spin on it, before you even start. It's just, I don't anyway.
We were talking that the other day. You had Walter Cronkite, you had Tom Brokaw, these guys. I mean, Sam Donaldson was a horse's ass.
Yeah.
But he was a horse's ass to everybody,
Right.
And, you had guys like George Will and kind of more thoughtful type folks, and now it's just turned into advocacy.
Yeah, but me, as being an athlete, I never thought that people would know my views on, but not political views or whatever. I never felt like I needed to do that, but that was just me, and I didn't know that I don't consider myself an authority on that stuff either, so in my entire lifetime,
I've only voted for the Libertarian candidate for president.
You go, boy.
No, I seriously have. I mean, I think I've figured out with my politics, I'm a bleeding heart liberal, but I'm just really, really scared of the government. So, so I always vote for the Libertarians in the hopes that someday a real candidate looks at the Libertarian Party and goes, man, they have put up all these jokes, but they get 4%. I could get 30% if I ran. You know?
But I mean, Libertarian. But you think about, I mean, Trump, not saying, but he wasn't a politician per se. He was,
right.
I mean, but whatever. But you wouldn't call him a libertarian.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no. He definitely had his streaks of liking big government to do the things he likes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really kind of the libertarians' view of the Democrats and the Republicans is they both like big government. It's just what does the big government do? You know. So.
You know, buddy, I gotta tell you, we're gonna wrap this up, but this is I just can't thank you enough, man.
No, this has been great. You ought to aspire to more.
What?
You ought to aspire to more.
Hey,
get better
Rome
guests
wasn't
on.
built in a day. We started working our way out.
There we go.
Brother. Thank you, kid. Thank you.
I need an answer.